Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping in. I sure appreciate it. I thought we could go back in time just 1 year. Don't panic, not too far, just 1 year. And see what I purchased and emptied in January of 2025. I'm thinking about making this like a regular thing on my channel, going back in time, looking to see if those things were good purchases, regrets, just kind of see where those stand in my collection a whole year later. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, stick around and we'll jump right in. We're going to start with the empties because I had only one empty for January of 2025, and that is the NYX Control Freak Eyebrow Gel, and I actually currently have one in my rotation as we speak. So yeah, it was an empty, and I've repurchased it a couple times throughout 2025. So I really like this product. It's a very light hold brow gel because I have very soft, fine, thin brow hairs. So I don't need any laminating products or extreme hold products. This does a very good job for me. So I think that's why I just keep repurchasing it. It's fairly affordable. You can find it anywhere. It's pretty easy going. So yeah, that was the only empty. So let's talk about what I purchased and how much it all cost. All right, so this is going to be a really short video because I only got 3 things, which that's a good thing because the rest of the months ahead I took a peek at, and those are going to be much longer videos. But so I bought 3 things in January of last year, and the first one that I purchased was the ColourPop Twilight New Moon palette. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it one more time for any newbies. I'm not a Twilight stan, fan, hater, nothing. I don't feel anything about it. Read the books, saw the movies, I'm over it. I'm not associating with the IP. I'm talking strictly, the packaging itself is really beautiful. Like, look at this. This is stunning. This, so pretty. But this is the best part. The palette. It is so beautiful. This is my dream color story. I am a fall color scheme lover at heart. Warm neutrals, burgundies, purples. It just, this right here is Michaela's color story. So I really do love this palette a whole lot. I think my favorite shade in this is Mood Control, which is this one right here. It's just the perfect bright yellowy gold pop. It's chef's kiss. It's stunning. I love the depth this palette carries because I like that these are all, in the way I do my makeup, these are all outer corner darkening shades, which I really love, that there's so many different options. You've got your black, you've got a purple, you've got a maroon, you've got a more green, you've got a brown. It just accentuates the rest of the mattes in the palette and the shimmers in this palette so perfectly. It's just too easy to do a look with this. Stunning. I think Adrenaline right here and Wolfpack are the pressed glitters, but they're not overly glittery. They're not chunky. They're not giving me a ton of fallout during the day. They do give a little, but I don't mind a little bit of fallout. It makes me a disco ball for the day. But these particular ones aren't too bad. So great formula, fantastic color story. And I purchased it, for the record, I always round up after taxes. So in this case, after taxes, I think the palette cost me 26 something. So I round up to the next dollar up. So I have in here the cost of this out of my own pocket was $27. So this was a great purchase. This next one is a sad one. So I purchased from Lethal the Dexter palette and brush set. Now, the happy part of this, I love the brush set. If you're a Dexter fan, like, come on. These brushes are amazing. It's kind of like his kill kit, if you will. They look like blades. These are just so luxe and so cool and so neat. As I'm throwing them around, I use this when I travel and only when I travel. It's just too easy. They're all in this nice little kit. It has everything I need. They're pretty clean and pristine because I really haven't used them that much this year. I think just 2 or 3 times. The brushes are really great. They were expensive, but I am paying for this part mostly, I think. But this isn't the purchase that I regret. The purchase that I regret is actually the palette. And I don't know if that's the right word, but I could have done without it. If I'm being real with myself, I could have done without it. But as a diehard Dexter fan, this packaging, being his blood slides, was too cool to pass up. I'm a Dexter fan, and I knew once I saw the color story revealed that this is not a color story I'm going to wear very often. I don't I'm not a fan of reds, especially blue-based reds. Now, orange-based reds, I'll wear all day, but these are definitely blue-based reds. And so because I have a warm yellow undertone, they turn like very purpley pink berry toned on me. And I don't love that. It makes it really hard for me to create looks with it. I get frustrated with it. The formula though, the formula is great. I have no problem. I'm like, it's hard to show this packaging with this palette. I'm trying to like not blind everybody to death. But so I'm just not a fan of these red shades here. This one right here is actually a really unique shade. The blood spatter in it. The names of these, like, come on. If you're a Dexter fan at all, you're dying on the inside at how cool and relatable this palette is. But it's not a color story I wear. I keep trying to force myself to use it, but I'm just really not. The silver in here is really pretty. This one right here, I think that's, yeah, ITK, Ice Truck Killer. If you're a fan, you know. And as you can see, this shade did come busted on me. You can see the pan already in there. It's not a pan I earned. It came busted, and it was such a mess inside the palette. And I'm sharing that bit of information with you because that broken shade did affect the cost of this. So I initially, between the palette and the brushes, spent $104. And that includes, when I'm giving prices, that includes tax and shipping. And then, of course, again, rounded up to the next dollar. But when I called them about that, or when I messaged them about the busted shade, because of the high demand of the palette, they didn't have any way to replace it. So they actually gave me a $20 refund. So once that refund hit, it ended up being a total cost of $84 for these two. But I mean, this has now just kind of become a cool ornament, desk ornament on my makeup desk. I do at least try and use it twice a year to get my money's worth, but I really could have done without this. And this experience really made me start thinking about not purchasing for the nostalgia aspect and actually purchasing for what's inside the cool packaging. But maybe some slight regrets with this, but zero regrets for this. You can hear all the sighing. It's my dog. She's sleeping next to me, and every time I bump her, I get a... She's such a brat. And then my last purchase of January was my only Bella Beauté bar palette, and that is the Morally Gray. The packaging is so pretty, but this was definitely a Valentine's themed palette from Bella Beauté bar, and I loved that it was a smaller one. They do a lot of larger palettes, and I'm learning about myself that larger palettes almost turn me off because there's too many choices, and then I overthink it, and then it feels too complicated, and I just make too much of a mess out of it. So I'm learning that I like smaller, more curated palettes, and I actually really do love this 9 pan. I wasn't sure that I was going to like the heart-shaped pans, but I actually do. They're very, very cute, and they're not hard to work around. They do pop out. They are magnetic. I don't rearrange my palettes, so that doesn't mean anything to me personally, but it might to you. I just hit my microphone, I'm sorry. But I love this color story. You've got this baby doll pink here, this beautiful pink shimmer there. This is my only experience with Bella Beauté bar, so I don't have any other shimmers to compare it to, but I've heard that the shimmers can be kind of chunky, have a lot of fallout. The only one that I have that personal experience with is this pink shimmer, but the beauty of it overrides any beef I have with any fallout. But this hollow, I think it's like a hollow chrome right here, absolutely beautiful. But the pinks and the grays together is just stunning. I love pinks and grays together. And I'm pretty sure this is the only Bella Beauté bar palette I will ever be able to afford in my entire life because they are a very expensive brand. Beautiful color stories, but that larger palette with those special shifty shades comes with a price tag that I can't afford. So I was really excited to be able to pick up and experience this formula, and it ended up being a color story that I really liked. So I was really happy. And I use this palette, I think, let me check. Okay, I had to check on the usage. I used the Bella Beauté bar palette 4 times last year, and I used the New Moon palette 4 times last year, which 4 times in a year doesn't sound like a whole... Oh, that's after I complete No Pan Left Behind. So I don't count uses on the palette until after No Pan Left Behind has been completed. So that was... I used it enough times to use every shade in the palette to complete No Pan Left Behind, and then use it an additional 4 times. Same thing with this one. And then the Dexter palette, I only used it once outside of No Pan Left Behind. But the cost for this one for me was, after, again, taxes and shipping, around it up, was $46. So that's still a lot for a 9-pan palette, but like I said, it's probably the only one I'll ever be able to afford. Okay, my friends, are you ready to hear the damage? We had 1 empty and we had 3 purchases, and the 3 purchases gave me a total of $157 for January of 2025. 3 purchases, $157. My budget last year was $150 a month for beauty products, and that included skincare, because I put beauty and skincare in the same category when I'm budgeting, and I blew that with 3 palettes. And I didn't track skincare expenditures last year, so I absolutely blew my budget out of the water in every capacity for 2025, because I think January was my 2nd lowest purchase month. So like I said, this is a short video, but all the videos going forward are going to be a lot longer. But I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to see what I spent, and if I'm still happy with what I spent, and if any of the empties ended up being repurchases. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this little pile came out. You know, the little Dexter palette's a slight hiccup, but you know, you live and you learn, and we're learning and we're living. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know if you guys have any purchases from a year ago that you either really didn't like or you're really still loving. I would really like to know. But other than that, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you later.